We will talk about the book later, but I want to start with Kevin Durant. We've all watched the first 2 games of the series, and you know the Rockets and analytics and yourself, who's so deep into this stuff. You work with the Spurs, you know this stuff. Layups, free throws, threes, layups, free throws, threes. And Kevin Durant's like, oh, by the way, I can just turn around on anybody from 10 feet. He's sort of dominating from the mid-range. What do you think about his mid-range game?
The layups, frees, and threes works unless you're Kevin Durant, who is the best mid-range shooter in the game right now. He's hitting over 50% of his shots for mid-range, which league average is about 40%, Jacoby, and that's where those margins are too bad for the three-point shooters. So the fact that he's so good at that mid-range, he can turn a valuable shot out of almost any place on the court, which is what he's doing. He can get to any place on the court, and it's unstoppable.
And nobody has embodied what you just talked about as it relates to analytics better than James Harden. And the Houston Rockets have owned this more than any team in the history of the league. Why is he the signature player for that style?
Well, he is the most analytically correct player we have in the league, and he only shoots threes and free throws, a lot of free throws, Jalen. When he won his MVP, he was the only MVP award winner to have more free throws than field goals at the time of his award.
Wow.
The dude has led the league in free throws 6 of the last 7 years as a guard. You're not supposed to be able to do that as a guard, but he does it because it's the smartest place to score on the court. You know, he shoots 80-some% from the line. And he knows how to get those whistles. Sometimes it's really smart. Sometimes it's really annoying, but it's always analytically correct.
So there is a lot of discussion about how James Harden's officiated over the last few days, and probably too much discussion about that. But do you think, like, there's people that is this anti-James Harden thing? Like some of my friends that really love the NBA, they hate the way he plays. What do you feel about sort of the James Harden hate?
Well, it's not up to me. I mean, basketball is a lot of our passions, and people have different opinions. I really appreciate his analytical brilliance, the way he aligns his game with everything that is smart and nothing that is stupid. However, some of the things that are smart, a lot of people think are in violation of the spirit of the game. You shouldn't chase whistles. You shouldn't jump into contact. Regardless of whether you love him or hate him, you have to acknowledge he's brilliant. And I think the landing area thing is really cynical. I think that was a step too far for me because that's a rule designed to protect jump shooters. And he's out here. It's like if a quarterback could lure a roughing the passer play, you know, and get like a 15-yard.
That's a good analogy.
Right. It's like if somebody figured out how to hack that and get that, like he ducked his head and got head-to-head contact and got a 15-yard penalty over and over and again. I just don't like that. But again, it's not up to me. That's just one man's opinion. But you cannot deny, Jacoby, that it's smart.
It is.
Now, I hear the enthusiasm in your voice when you talk about analytics, but I have to go into former player mode here and say, when you do a lot of isolation, like James Harden does, and when you shoot a lot of threes, when the playoffs come, you can suffocate the three-point line. I've seen the Spurs do it to him. I've seen the Warriors do it to him. Do you think, while it's so very brilliant, those are your words, that style can actually win a championship?
I do think that if it's executed properly. I mean, he has run up against a once-in-a-generation juggernaut, keeping him out of the finals last year because they went so cold from the line. And to your point, they didn't have a counter. And when they started missing those threes in Game 7 last year, they didn't have a plan B. And that, I think, is too bad for them. But I do think you can win. I mean, why not? I think if you don't run up against this generational juggernaut in Golden State, that they probably make the finals last year and, you know, coin toss with Cleveland. So, you know, I think they can. I don't think they will this year, but I don't see any reason to believe they couldn't get all the way there.
Well, not only do you have Sprawl Ball, you're also a writer for ESPN.com, and you appear on television as well, like not just Jalen Jacoby, but one of your most recent posts was about the reliance in the NBA on the three-point line and the sort of geography of the three-point line and how it's been manipulated now and how it started. And you suggested a lot of different ways to change the three-point line, most of which are absolutely insane. Most of which are insane. You want each team to design their own, sort of the way ballparks are designed?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Why doesn't it make any sense?
Then you have the data-driven line that moves around every once in a while.
Come on now.
However, there was one that I liked.
All right.
There was one that I liked. And it was sort of adjusting the corner three.
Yeah.
So walk us through how your suggestion to adjust the corner three, your only suggestion that sort of made any logical sense, in my opinion.
Well, speaking of logic, Jacoby, the corner three is not the smartest shot in basketball. It's the stupidest shot in basketball. Why do we have a 22-foot three-point shot over here and a 24-foot three-point shot over there? So one idea is just to say, hey, what if we had just consistent 23.75-foot arc, which would be an arc,
Yep.
and we would get rid of the corner three. The most common threes in the game are still the corner threes.
Of course, they're the easiest ones to make.
And every possession up and down a court has two guys or one guy just standing around picking dandelions, and I don't like it. I want to see player movement. I don't want to reward a guy for just standing out there, and it's too easy for these guys. These guys have the easiest buckets in the league now, I think. You stand around. Your defender chooses to help on James Harden. And all of a
PJ
sudden,
Tucker taking more threes than anybody.
Hook him, Harden.
From the corner.
Hook him,
not?
Harden.
Why
I
not?
like PJ. Go get those money.
doubt.
You know, get his money. He makes that corner three a lot because James draws in the defender and he just catches the ball and he shoots it.
Plenty of time to shoot.
It's too easy for PJ. It's too easy. Make him look at where his feet are, take away some of that shooting space, make him move a little bit more. So, yeah, I think that's one thing we can consider. The last thing I'll say, a lot of people don't realize the three-point line as currently drawn on the court with the corner three was first drawn in 1961 when Roger Maris was the biggest star in American
sports. The game is basically the same now. You know what I mean? The game hasn't changed at all in the last 50 years.
Yeah, dude, just keep it there. What are the chances the line in 2019 is the same line we needed in 1961?
I think that's a fair point. But, you know, if you eliminate the corner three and you have it as you constructed it, there's going to be so many out-of-bounds calls.
That's annoying.
Like, it's just going to be so many of those.
Yeah, well, there's annoying things about it, and I would say, like, it's not up to me to just choose which of these ideas the league should endorse. It's up to me, I guess, to throw them out there
Can I
and put a
pitch
little
one for
data.
you?
Yeah, please.
You extend it, but you extend it so it kind of, when it gets close, it just ends at the out of bounds. So there is no corner three at all.
So that's like, if you go to 25 feet, which is half the width of the court, you have that sort of thing going on, and I think that would be cool. And like, that would shorten the distance and the space for these guys to do it. But what would happen in the baseline 2 area? Would anybody even go out to those corners anymore? We don't want to go back to a version of the sport where everybody's jammed up in the paint.